Well, it's Wednesday, and you all know what that means. That means AEW Dynamite has their go home show before we head to Forbidden Door. Who knows what kind of surprises we're going to get? Will the New Japan stars make their appearance? Well, that's something we're going to be finding out soon enough. But first things first, we're going to review another recent event from Stardom from earlier this month on July 9th, where they're at, of course, I believe, in Tokushima. We're going to see what takes place in that. And of course, we got a couple of news updates to tell what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are putting out, who's booked, what matches are being set, any injured wrestlers, new signed wrestlers, the whole enchilada. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that's pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Gerard here. So, let's begin with Stardom in Tokushima. This took place on July 9th. So, it opened up with a three-way match. We have newcomer, rookie, Aya Sakura versus Yuna Mizumori versus Starlight Kid. Now, I don't know if you guys saw this particular match. You might have noticed that Yuna Mizumori has now been entered the category as a member of Cosmic Angels. I don't think she's officially a member just yet, but I think they're just putting it in there by accident or whatever. I don't know what's that deal. So I'm putting it out there for anybody if you noticed. But the match was pretty okay, but I had a feeling that this match was going to have, of course, Sakura, who is, of course, the much lesser experienced wrestler in Stardom, to be the one to take fall. But who was it that did it? Well, it was Yuna Mizumori. As you know, we follow up the story where, of course, she has to lose 10 kilos of her weight. However, how much is that? That would be about 22 pounds, I believe. Yes. So apparently, I don't know if they actually. The last time they weighed her, it was like she had 8 pounds or 8 kilos lost. I don't know. But anyway, she did pretty well. But the match was ended by applying the Supergirl, which is, of course, a move we've seen with, Colt Cabana in the past. But it was great that she picked up a very good win for herself. Now, our next match, we have the very exciting duo of Mei Seira and Suzuki taking on Hanako and Miyu Amasaki. Now, keep in mind, Hanako is still a rookie who is still unaffiliated with any other members, unlike Aya Sakura. So it was a pretty interesting matchup because I knew that this factor was going to show that, of course, Seira and Suzuki were going to pick up the win. But it was, of course, Seira who picked up the win when she applied a modified Dragon Sleeper onto onto Amasaki to pick up the win. Now, we have Meltier, Natsupoi, and Tam Nakano taking on Stars, consistent of Momo Kogo, Saya Ida. I thought it was a very interesting match, but however, I knew that this match was definitely going to fall into Meltier since they are one of the most popular tag teams in Stardom. However, it was, of course, Tam Nakano with the Northern Cross onto Saya Ida to pick up the win. Next up, we got the members of Oedo Tai, consistent of Ruka, Momo Watanabe, Saki Kashima, and Natsuko Tora, taking on Queen's Quest, Lady C, Saya Kamitani, Azumi, and Utami Hayashida. Now, keep in mind, they're building up that story where we have that cage match where, of course, the last person who gets eliminated in the steel cage match will be asked to leave the respective units. So I will be doing something like that on the podcast soon enough, but we'll see what happens until then. The match was pretty exactly like I thought. You probably would have assumed that there was going to be some cutting corners by Oda Tai. It kind of did, but however, in the end, it was Saki Kashima with the My Emblem onto Lady C that pick up the win. But however, we are seeing there are indications. We ask ourselves, is this could be the beginning of something that could end Queen's Quest? Well, we don't know until we get there, so we'll find out soon enough. Our next match, we have God's Eye, consistent of Suri, Amisore, and Mirai taking on Stars, consistent of Koguma, Azuki, and Mayu Iwatani. Now, if you guys notice, Koguma likes to play a little bit of games because she acts like a child in certain aspects. Basically, they ask the members of God's Eye to try to chase them, so they're trying to play a little hide and seek. I thought it was very interesting to do that, but did you honestly think that was going to keep them? No, it did not stop them one way or the other, but you probably would have assumed that because we seen God's Eye, they are one of the most strongest units in Stardom, they would have picked up the win. However, it was, of course, Koguma with the diving body splash onto Amisuri to pick up the win. So we'll see how this trio will do well when we get to that cage match. Now, our main event, we have Club Venus. Mariah May, Xena, Waka, and Mina taking on DDM's Maika, Tekla, Mai Sakurai, and Julia. Now, there were some good moments where you thought that, of course, Club Venus had everything under control. But however, DDM were able to overturn everything they did. But however, it was, of course, Xena who took the fall when, of course, Maika applied the Eiku Otoshi. So that kind of put them away to give them the win. So apparently right now, as you know, DDM, most specifically Julia, Tekla, and Mai Sakurai are building up momentum before their upcoming title match in a cage match. So we'll be seeing that soon enough. And I think that's pretty much it for Stardom, so I believe it's time for AEW Dynamite. Okay, our last review, AEW Dynamite. As I said before, this is the final go-home show before we head to Forbidden Door. Anything could possibly happen before we get there. Now, keep in mind, certain wrestlers will be facing the talent of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and some will be teaming up with them in certain matches. So, what surprises do we have in store? Well, let's find out. Our first match, we have, of course, the Hardys taking on none other than the Guns, aka the Ass Boys. Now, ever since the Hardys made the announcement that after defeating, or should I say, deleting the firm, the Hardys made the perfectly announcement that they want to have one last run to obtain the AEW Tag Team titles. But however, a certain set of brothers who claim that they are the best, the Ass Boys, Austin and Colton Gunn, will not allow them to obtain titles that they felt should be theirs. But however, they are claiming that they are the best brothers ever. But we all know the Hardys are beyond the Ass Boys' capability. But however, in this particular match, there was a lot of questions that were made about the Guns' recent activities. And one of those, of course, is Bullet Club Gold. If you guys remember, they helped, of course, the Bullet Club Gold to take out Ricky Starks. However, apparently the Bullet Club Gold did the same thing too by repaying a favor, costing the Hardys the match. And then as soon as the match was over, we saw there was a beatdown on the Hardys. Luckily, Ricky Starks shows up to try to get his hands on them. But unfortunately, CM Punk and FTR showed up with unfinished business with, of course, Bullet Club Gold. And of course, CM Punk said that, that he will be seeing them at AEW Collision on a 4-on-4 match. So basically, and of course, Drew says that he's the one who's going to put CM Punk to sleep. Well, we'll see about that. Now, our next match is a concession stand match between Mark Briscoe and Jeff Jarrett. Now, this feud between them started when things did not go exactly according to plan last week or the week before for Jeff Jarrett. He takes his frustrations out on Mark Briscoe. Now, Mark Briscoe did exactly what he's going to do, beat the crap out of Jeff Jarrett. Of course, we saw the sudden interference from Karen Jarrett, and of course that idiot um, Sanjay Dutt. And then, of course, when they were taking this fight all the way to the ring, Jay Lethal shows up, of course, and then everybody was trying to get up. But one thing led to another. Papa Buck showed up and put Jay Lethal through a table. And, of course, the fear in the eyes of Jarrett and Sanjay Dutt is right there. But, of course, Satnam Singh, who got in the way, apparently he got himself taken care of by not one, not two, but multiple wrestlers, more specifically the Best Friends and the Lucha Brothers taking him out. But it only took a only a schoolboy made, thanks with the assistance of Pentagon, onto Jeff Jarrett to pick up the win. So it ends it just like that. But the obvious question does tell: are the dickwads done with Mark Briscoe, or they still want to hassle him? Well, we'll see what happens down the line. Now, as you know, we have been seeing a lot of things going on with the Blackpool Combat Club. Now, apparently, of course, Blackpool Combat Club announced for a 5-on-5 match. But unfortunately, Bryan Danielson cannot be committed in this particular match since he will be facing Kazuchika Okada. So, Moxley, Yuta, and Claudio will be teaming up with Takeshita and, of course, Shooter himself in a 5-on-5. But once again, of course, Bryan Danielson saying that, if, of course, Okada does not show up, then he will be making a point saying exactly what he's saying, that he is not a professional, that he is an amateur. Now, our next match is a trios match. We have Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara teaming up with none other than the King, aka Murder Grandpa himself, Minoru Suzuki. They take on the very sensational trio of AR Fox, Darius Martin, and Action Andretti. Now, I do like watching whenever anybody who gets in the face of Minoru Suzuki. You know what happens. It's not a pleasant treat for that, but it's so great. But however, in this particular match, of course, we saw the Lion Tamer onto Darius Martin, forcing him to tap out. As soon as the match was over, there was a bit of an in-ring interview by Renee, who asked about everything that's been going on. However, Chris Jericho decided to cuss out Sting, saying that he's a coward for what he is. But however, Sting and Darby Allin did not take that stand. But however, they said they were going to make a match at Forbidden Door, I believe. No, but there was going to be a 3-on-3 match. But the obvious question is, who is the third person? Darby said that they'll find out in Collision. I have to say, this is going to be very interesting to see. So I think a lot of us, I wouldn't be surprised if it's someone from Los Ingordenables de Japón. But we'll see about that. Now, in response of the Blackpool Combat Club, the Elite also gave a little response of their own. They agreed to the 5-on-5 match, but however, Kenny will be busy in a match against Will Ospreay, putting the IWGP United States title on the line. So apparently Eddie Kingston joined the phrase, but he did told them he does not like them or respect them, but he needs them because he hates Claudio. So they agree. But however, the fifth man was a very mystery. He said that it's someone he picked. He said he may not trust them, but they need him. So we had no clue who that was. So that's how it goes. Now, we head back to the ring. A very interesting promo comes up with Adam Cole. As you know, Adam Cole he talked about what happened in that eliminator match where he did not win or lose the match. Neither did Max. So he was asking for a rematch. But however, apparently MJF refused to give the match. But however, apparently there's going to be a tag match between both MJF and Adam Cole to team up. And then, of course, they said Tanahashi will be involved. And, of course, Adam Cole knows that how to push MJF's buttons. So that kind of sets it in. Now, our next match, we have Orange Cassidy and Shibata taking on Zack Sabre Jr. and Daniel Garcia. Now, keep in mind, Daniel Garcia has his sights set on the pure title against Shibata. But however, there is one title that all men have in common, which is the international title. However, in this match, Orange Cassidy was about to do the Orange Punch on Daniel Garcia. He misfired and, of course, costing the match. But later, it was revealed that there's going to be a four-way match for the AEW International title. We got the champion OC taking on Shibata, Zack Sabre Jr., and of course Garcia. So we'll see how that turns out. Now, during an interview with Will Ospreay, as you know, he pissed off a lot of the Canadians for what he said. So basically, he feels that AEW owes him to have a security, but apparently Don Callis stepped up saying that he'll provide security for him because he feels that the area where they're going to be in Toronto, they're a bunch of miscreants. But of course, the thing is, Will Ospreay doesn't trust Don Callis, but we all know what he's in it for. He wants to see Kenny Omega defeated and destroyed. That's always been the end game. So the obvious question does tell, can Will Ospreay trust him, or he's just another garbage that he cannot stand? We'll see about that when we get to Forbidden Door. Now, our main event was, of course, the TBS title. Taya Valkyrie versus Chris Statlander. Now, keep in mind, Taya Valkyrie has been very obsessed with this title since arriving. Now, we saw what happened in Double or Nothing. She was unsuccessful, that she was unable to defeat Jade Cargill. But because of what was his name? Smart Mark Sterling put out an open challenge as soon as the match was over, and of course Chris Statlander came out and won the match. That sort of became the clear indication of that. But Chris Statlander was pushed to her limits by Taya Valkyrie, but it took only a a waist night fever to put Taya Valkyrie away. Now, what we all been waiting for, Eddie Kingston was going to announce the fifth member of their 5-on-5 match. It was still unclear, but however, he knows that Jon Moxley is not happy that he's going up against Claudio, even though he told him that he'll stay away from him. Looks like he had enough, and looks like another rift between their friendship has been finally broken. So, instead of wasting time with Moxley, he introduces the newest member, the fifth member, and that is none other than the Stone Pitbull, Tomohiro Ishii. But however, when this was happening, the members of the Blackpool Combat Club show up and attack what's his name? Kingston, and then Ishii tried to help, and same thing with the numbers games. But Bryan Danielson once again saying guys like Okada are amateurs, but he did not show up. Apparently, once he heard the coin drop, he did show up. So that means basically he is not an amateur. But apparently, once again, Wheeler Yuta sucking up to Bryan Danielson, tried to take out Okada. But, however, Okada dodged until he saw the Busaiku knee on Yuta. He was almost this close applying the Rainmaker onto Danielson, but he ran like the cow with his tails between his legs. But, however, Yuta was the one who received, of course, the Rainmaker, sending a direct message. So the obvious question is, was Danielson wrong about that he's an amateur? Well, we'll see when we get to Forbidden Door 2. So I think this was a pretty good show. So we'll see what happens on Rampage and AEW Collision. I think that's pretty much it for now. We'll go from there. So let's move on to our final thing, and I believe that is news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So this is what we have for you today. Impact Wrestling, as you know, will have the Summer Sizzler in Atlanta, Georgia, taking place on June 23rd and 24th. However, for the 24th of June event, we're going to have Deonna Purrazzo issuing an open challenge. However, it was announced that the person who responded to the open challenge is none other than Taylor Wilde. So that's going to be a much interesting matchup. However, also on that particular day, we're going to see Mike Bailey taking on Kevin Knight. Now, some of our Wrestling Revolver events have been announced. The first one we're going to talk about is Cage of Horrors that takes place on July 1st. There's going to be a no DQ tornado tag team match. We have the unit consistent of JT Dunn and Ali Catch taking on Masha Slamovich and Jessica. It's going to be sick! And of course, we move on to another event taking place on the 8th in Texas, their debut show. We're going to have the Revolver Remix title on the line. Alex Shelley defends the title against Zachary Wentz. And of course, first time ever, Rich Swann taking on Shane Taylor. Now, Prestige Wrestling for their updates for the All Rise event on the 23rd of July. The Prestige title will be defended. Alex Shelley defends it against John Gresham, the Octopus. That's going to be interesting. But also another match has been set. First time ever, we're going to have Kevin Blackwood taking on Malachi Black. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Now, another interesting announcement that took place, they're going to have their Roseland 6 event on August 1st. And their debut wrestler is coming all the way from Dragon Gate in Japan. We got Shun Skywalker. So he'll be making his Prestige Wrestling debut. Now, for our West Coast Pro event, Cruel Summer, that will take place soon. The West Coast Pro title will be defended. Titus Alexander defends the title against Vinny Masario. And our final update, of course, this one I had to say for last. Any of my subscribers are from the New York area. It was announced for the high intensity event by House of Glory that none other than the ace of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Hiroshi Tanahashi, will be making his appearance on August 18th. So if you guys are part of that area, in the New York area, if you're big fans of Tanahashi, go check him out. So just letting you guys know. If you guys are already ready to watch the show, then you know what that means. So I think that's pretty much it. What we have for everyone. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we got MLW, of course, with the latest Fusion show. Then we got Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, and plenty others. If there's any news updates, I will be putting out. So I'm not sure if there'll be any other show before that. But I also will be doing a podcast episode because I did not do the recent one. So I'll be doing that soon enough. But keep in mind, I will let you guys know when that will be out. So I think that's pretty much it what we have. So I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.